Hello, guys, and welcome to the Marigold Standard, your weekly audio source of all things Dream Star Fighting Marigold. I'm your host, Rob Goodwin. I'm joined as ever by Mr. Matthew Turner. Mr. Turner, how the devil are you, good sir?
Rob Goodwin, I am phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal for a lot of reasons, my friend. One of them, it is gorgeous out. It is like 20 degrees above freezing. Considering we've had some ice storms and some snowstorms, it's like 20 degrees above freezing. It is fantastic. None of that, Rob Goodwin. Only 3 working days left for me before my favorite time of the year, Christmas. Christmas season is just upon us, Rob Goodwin. We are rocking and rolling into the Christmas season. You may say that we're flowing into the Christmas season, almost like
For God's sake.
almost like dramatic pause, a double frontier. And
Oh,
I know I was
no.
really good. I know I was really good this year because Santa Claus, Andy Header, came a week early
Oh, no.
and brought me the gold medal. Good luck to anybody trying to defeat this Christmas present. Yes,
Oh, look at the state of it.
mint on card Mel tier. Yes, it is the double the. Look at that. It's got actually the 6 songs, which is only 3, but the other 3 are instrumental. Yes,
Wow.
so it's the deluxe.
Wow.
It's the deluxe edition. So I actually recorded Talk Josh with Andy Header yesterday, and he did get our Christmas present yesterday, which we got him the new Metroid game for.
Yes.
But I was like, oh, Andy Header's gift came. And my wife said, oh, let's open it. And I was like, no, I don't know if I should wait till Christmas. She's like, open it. I'm like, do you know what it is? And she said, yes. I said, do you really? She goes, no. And then as soon as she opened, I'm like, oh my God. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. The look on my wife's face of sheer disappointment.
I'm with you. I am with
phenomenal.
Amber on this.
She's like, I cannot believe that he literally had to buy it off Bushi Road. Literally sent from Japan. Like he buy it from like Bushi Road Studios or whatever it is. And she goes, I can't believe he got this. This is a deluxe edition. And she turns it on the other side. She goes, there's 6 songs. I go, technically there's 3 because there's only 3 songs. The other 3 are instrumental. She's like, there's only 3 songs on this. I was like, I am so excited. Yes. And he did, God bless him. He did tell me he looked for autographed copies of it. He looked all over to see if anybody had autographed copies. But what he did, and he's a good brother, he did, he got it shipped from Japan to his house to my house. I would have just forged Tam and Natsupoi's name on it, sign it, and send it. Be like, yo, bro, I got you the autographed copy of the Mel Tier Deluxe Edition CD. So good luck to my wife, who's literally in the Santa Claus room right now as we speak, wrapping presents. Because I don't know if anybody, hold on, I'm going to show it again for YouTube fans.
Oh,
look at that. Gorgeous.
Oh,
gorgeous. Natsupoi and the returning Tam Nakano next Monday on Dream Queen. But I feel it. It's flowing through my brain, my veins. I might cry up like a tear tail. I'm going like a tear tail.
I genuinely have lost a little bit of respect for you.
You had some?
well, I've lost a little bit of respect for Andy as well now.
Best guy ever.
Look, I love the fact that the way they've marketed that album is you have to pay more to hear the songs without Tam squalling over them. And it's like, look, we know you don't want to hear Tam. So if you don't just the music, you're going to have to fork out some extra pounds. I cannot believe they got the audacity to release that as an album. It had 3 songs on it.
The way that I look at it is after your comment, it's almost like Black Bolt. Only certain people can hear Tam singing without their heads exploding because it's like hearing the word of Christ. So
of course, it's like hearing the word of Christ.
Oh, I should have said that.
Singing.
Oh my goodness, I'm gonna get bullets gonna hit.
Goodness gracious me.
Hey, how are you doing today, buddy?
Not half as good as you by the sounds of it. Goodness gracious me. This is a Marigold podcast, obviously, thank God, because I don't think I could take the bubbliness of Matt and his meltier tales for an entire podcast.
I might throw it in there.
But yeah, we have got quite a lot to talk about, really, from the world of Marigold. Obviously, we've got the shows from the 13th and the 14th of December to talk about some really good matches. I thought the show from the 13th was really, really good. The semi-main from the show on the 14th was really good as well. We've got lots of little bits of news coming out of the world of Marigold as well as we heat up ahead of First Dream. And Matt Turner, that show, First Dream, is exactly where we are going to start, good sir, because we now have the full card for First Dream on the 3rd of January, Outer Ward City Gymnasium. Marigold did announce the show in its entirety a couple of days ago, and then actually had a press conference this morning where they just sort of put a couple more things in place. Something they did confirm on the press conference this morning was that Mika Wano versus Mai Sakurai for the Marigold World Championship sorry, hiccups, will indeed main event the show, which is obviously great news. The rest of the card is as follows. So obviously the aforementioned red belt match. We have the Marigold United National Championship match between Victoria Yuzuki and Shoko Kashino. The GHC Women's Championship match between Takumi Aroha and Mayu Iwatani, which is going to be incredible. Can't wait to be live and in person for that. Marigold Twinstar Championships match. It is a Darkness Revolution affair. Misa Matsui and Chiaki defending those belts against Nagisa Nozaki and Ria Sato. Obviously, we mentioned Utami Hayashishita and Chika Goto in singles action. Megaton's open challenge is not an open challenge, as it transpires. She has got a mystery opponent. She is called the Popular K, which there's a couple of different people I think it could be. The real sadist in me wants it to be Katsuyori Shibata, but I don't think it's going to be Shibata.
I was going Kobashi.
Oh my God, imagine.
Kobashi.
Those matches were all confirmed alongside that sixth woman, Seriyama Oka, Koko, and Shino versus Kazuna Tanaka, Yuki Yamazaki, and Kamomo Minami. But arguably the biggest news out of this latest release of matches is that we will finally see the return of both Natsumi Shozuki and Koki Amare. They will be back for that show in Outer Ward. They'll be teaming with Hummingbird against Nagisa Takibana, Naoi Ishikawa, and Minami Yuki. Koki Amare has been out since the end of September when she fractured her left clavicle, and Natsumi Shozuki has been out since June, the middle of June, when she dislocated her right shoulder joint and had a partial avulsion fracture of the labrum as well. They are just words to me. I have got no idea what that means, but it does sound incredibly painful.
The body. Things happen
yes,
to the body.
Something happened to the body. I know she dislocated her shoulder, but then there was other damage as well. But Matt, great news to see Natsumi Shozuki and Koki Amare involved. It's going to be interesting to see who Megaton takes on as well. What are you most excited for on this card?
I'm excited that when Megaton's in the ring, you're going to be chanting Shibata, and I'm going to be chanting Kobashi, just to see who that's going to be. I'll say this, like obviously we have a full card here for First Dream. We have a full card for Wrestle Kingdom 20, full card for Tokyo Joshi Pro 26, full card for the Noah Budokan show. This is, for me, the best top to bottom full card out of all these big shows that are not. Now, obviously, we don't have the full card announced yet for Stardom. Actually, only a few matches. But I tell you what, out of all these shows that we're going to, and they all look really good, this one to me, top to bottom, looks like it could be the best show of that entire Wrestle Kingdom weekend. There's not, a weak match on that card. Everything looks great. Those top 3 championship matches would be great. The All Darkness Revolution Army tag match should be interesting because it's going to be like, breaking the rules versus breaking the rules. So it's really interesting to see heel psychology versus heel psychology in a tag match. And if anybody's going to pull it off, it's going to be those 4 fantastic wrestlers. A lot of great stuff. Again, Koki Amare coming back, Natsumi Shozuki coming back. You have a lot of, 2 really great 6-person tag matches. Some really excellent stuff I'm really looking forward to. Again, top to bottom, this very well could be the best show in the entire Wrestle Kingdom week, as we are kind of dubbing it over there, good sir.
Yeah, absolutely. That GHC Women's Championship match is obviously a dream match. Mai Sakurai and Mika Wano have been working wonders to promote that World Championship match, and it's absolutely the right match to be main eventing this show. The first red belt main event of a pay-per-view, by the way, since the last First Dream. as pointed out by Scotty Wrestling. So that's something. I think Utami Hayashishita and Chika Goto have the potential to do something very, very special. I think that Marigold Youth or Young Marigold 6-woman tag is going to be very, very good as well, especially if they give them, 9-10 minutes to really, really showcase. It's been a year, Matt Turner, since Seriyama Oka's debut. How quickly has that year gone? Literally debuted on this show last year technically, with Mirai in that 15-minute time limit draw. Obviously, on this show last year, we saw obviously Koki Amare unfortunately sustain that injury as well. So I think it's really important that she's back on this show. I did see a tweet from Natsumi Shozuki who said, "Oh, they've ruined my new gear because they put the new render on the graphic," which really made me laugh. But yeah, a couple of things as well to point out from the press conference today. The only person I don't think present was Shoko Kashino. I think everybody else was present. Miku Aono and Mai Sakurai continued to beat each other up. I believe that Miku Aono attempted a Styles Clash on the table in front of Rossi Ogawa, and then Mai Sakurai slapped her, headbutted her, and then locked her in the STF, and had to be pulled off her. So that was quite
Hell
good.
yeah. Hell yeah.
And then there was a hip measuring contest between Chika Goto and Utami Hayashishita. And I know there was a little bit of negativity surrounding that. What I will say is that has been Chika Goto's thing for the past goodness knows how long, has been about, building mass and, the size of her hips now, because she is building mass as she's, trying to be taken more seriously as a pro wrestler. So I think that was probably more of what it was. Also, what I do like is the fact that, Chika Goto was noticeably put on size. Utami is still bigger. And I thought that was quite a nice sort of symbolic thing as to where they are on the roster. Yeah, Chika Goto's improved. She's not quite Utami. And, there is that in terms of the size as well. I thought that was really good. But, yeah, some really, really good matches on here and the potential to be a real blow-away show. Obviously, we know that Popular K can't be Katsuyori Shibata, with him still being under AEW contract. But I initially, because it was sort of clarified that it was going to be Popular K just after we recorded, and I was like, bloody hell, we said open challenge. I was initially thinking, until a couple of days ago, that maybe that was going to be Koki Amare, and they were going to bring her back to have a match against Megaton, because in terms of a singles match, it's not going to be too strenuous. No disrespect to Megaton, obviously. But yeah, I'm sure that there will be other people that are like, yeah, I know exactly who it is. It's very, very obvious. In my head, I'm like, Kaito Kiyomiya? Kenta?
Oh my goodness, Rob. Easy.
To be fair.
What? Yeah, she was Minoru Suzuki. Yeah, maybe the most dangerous wrestler of all time. Yeah.
They did bring in Minoru Suzuki for Grand Destiny. And maybe, is it going to be someone like a Kiori Ito or
Kaori Oniyama?
Oh my God, it could be Kaori Oniyama.
Oh my goodness, as Kaori-tan.
Oh my God,
Rob, we saw the mystery. Very much like last week when we were going through the potential proponents for Chika Goto, and then me and you both landed on Utami. Like, yes, it could be Utami. And then the next day they announced that it was Utami. I was like, oh, and that's kind of the match like we wanted too. So yeah, I'm super excited for that match. Maybe it is Kaori Oniyama under some sort of like Megaton, Gigaton gimmick. That's what I'm going with, Rob. That's what I'm going with. That's what I'm settling on.
I'm going to go with, and it's a bit of a rogue choice, I'm going to go Kyoko Inoue.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one, good sir.
I don't know what the relationship is like in terms of Marigold and Diana. I know that Stardom tend to do a lot of work with Diana and obviously a lot of talent swapping with Diana. I don't know if that would affect the work with Marigold or not, but I mean, hey, why not? And who wouldn't love to see her, slapping poor Megaton around the ring for 5 minutes? It'll be very entertaining.
You mean the other way around?
Oh, well, Megaton, yeah, obviously. Of course, yeah. And the only thing I was disappointed with really was the confirmation that wouldn't be the main event. But it's the main event in our hearts, let's be perfectly honest.
Yeah. Because I don't know if we're going to be able to do a first stream preview show. So, and obviously we'll be talking quite a bit when we're in Japan, but just kind of off the cuff, the two matches that I don't know who's going to win, I'm gonna throw them your way. Like I'm looking at like my predictions here. Mayu Utani versus Takumi Roha and Utami versus Chikagoto. To me, I'm looking at this card, and every match could go this way, could go that way. I think I know which way the red and white belt matches are going to go. But Mayu versus Takumi and Chikagoto versus Utami, to me, are the two most difficult to predict. So I'm going to throw a question at you, and then you can lobby back to me. Who do you think wins those two matches?
Just before I do say that, there will at the very, very least be a written preview for First Dream on the website, on the Patreon. So for completely free, you don't have to sign up or anything. In terms of those matches, I know that we said Chikagoto needs to beat Utami. However, the more I've thought about it, the more I'm like, well, maybe she's not quite at that level yet. However, I think if there is going to be a match on this card that goes to a time limit draw, it could be Utami and Chikagoto.
Oh, good point.
So I'm going to do the Hatman TLD for Utami and Chikagoto. Takumi and Mayu is an interesting one because you really have quite a unique opportunity here for Mayu to become the GHC Women's Champion after dropping the IWGP Women's Championship. And it makes you wonder, obviously, with relationships between companies as they are, how many women are going to be able to claim that accolade. I am going to go with my heart and say Mayu takes that.
I'm going to go with Chikagoto over Utami, but over the slimmest of I can go either way. I can see it. A time limit draw is a really good pick. Or Utami, having to get her first big win back and build the momentum to build her back the card since losing the belt back at Grand Destiny. Since Mayu and Takumi is a Noah title, obviously Pro Wrestling Noah, they're going to have some say in who wins. I love Takumi Roha. Mayu's the bigger star. You can have Mayu defending that belt on Marvelous shows, on Monday Magic shows, at the Gotcha shows, as well as the Marigold show. So I think that Mayu is going to win that. And I think that Pro Wrestling Noah should look at it as look what Mayu did for the IWGP Championship. Again, kind of a belt that was, let's call it like we see, kind of an afterthought for New Japan. And Mayu made it a massive title because of the great performances she had in that 2-year run. So I think they're like, wait, why can't we do that here? And there's no reason why they can't. Mayu is still Mayu. She's still one of the best to ever do it, still very much in her prime. Would I be shocked if Takumi wins? Not really, but I think Mayu does take that belt because, again, you just do exactly what, Pro Wrestling knows. Like, we're just going to do exactly what New Japan did, and it clearly worked, and a lot of people benefit from it. So copy an A, get an A, buddy. But those are the two toughest matches for me to predict, but that's the way that I'm going to go. So I just wanted to get your train of thought on that one, good sir.
Bearing in mind that Noah have a huge show at Nippon Budokan 2 days before this, and this title is not on that card, I have a feeling, and again, I could be completely wrong, I know nothing, it's just a gut. I think if Takumi Iroha was going to retain, they could have run this match on a Noah card. I think with it being on a Marigold card, there is more of a chance of Mayu winning. So that's part of my thought process there. Again, it could be completely wrong, and we could just get a 20-minute belter and Takumi Iroha wins. Again, I'm not going to complain about that whatsoever. And Mayu certainly doesn't need the victory by any stretch of the imagination. She doesn't need to win another match in her entire career. Let's be perfectly honest. But in that quest for gold and that uniqueness of being someone to hold both the GHC women's and the IWGP women's, I think it would make a very, very interesting run or reign for Mayu to be the GHC women's champion. And again, you look at who she could face for that belt all around, the Japanese freelance scene, as well as, the likes of people in Marigold for that belt as well. I'm sure we'll see Koki Amare coming back for that title at some point as well. But yes, very much looking forward to this card. There's no real weak link there at all, because again, that Twin Star Championship match, Darkness Revolution versus Darkness Revolution, I've got really high expectations of that. I've got really high expectations of Utami and Chikagoto. My only real concern, it's not even a concern, is that Miku Ano and Mai Sakurai have spent so long escalating and escalating and escalating. Are they going to be able to top it? Are they going to be able to capitalize on that on the pay-per-view? I mean, for God's sake, we saw an Avalanche. Styles Clash. I mean, is she going to have to do one off a balcony? Maybe just to top it. And I do wonder if that's played into the booking decision of running the Korakuen Hall show as the Twinstar Cup, which we'll talk about in a moment, so that they don't have to continue to escalate, to give that feud some time to breathe. That's sort of where I'm going, because again, they've done such. I'm so excited for that match. I'm so excited for Mai Sakurai to get that opportunity in the main event. Miku Ano is phenomenal. I can't wait to see her. She's, again, you talk about aura. Can't wait to hear that theme song in Ota Ward. Can't wait to see her come out and wrestle and hear those kicks around Ota Ward as well. I think Victoria Yuzuki and Shoko Kishino, I think that will surprise us. Because again, it's not the match we expected to get or anticipated that we'd get. Again, we'd quoted Seri Yamaoka, we quoted Utami Hayashishita as possible opponents. I think I even threw Chikagoto's name in.
We both did
as well. Yeah. So Shoko was sort of an out of left field pick, even though we know that Marigold are very high on Shoko. But I have quite a lot of confidence in what they are capable of doing together. So yeah, I'm excited to see these matches. And again, even the Megaton match, the intrigue around who that special opponent is going to be. And again, that really worked for Marigold at Grand Destiny, those two mystery opponents for Megaton and Chikagoto. I think that really works. So doing that again here is a good bit of business as well.
Yeah, one last thing I just want to say of all these great matches that we're going to be seeing live in Japan, whether, obviously Sherry versus Sai Kamatani, Okada versus Tanahashi. You look at Suzumi and Miyu Watanabe, Soriano versus Sai Kamatani. So far, the best, at least in my opinion, I think you agree with me, the best built match out of all these great matches that we're going to go see is Miku Ano versus Mai Sakurai.
Yeah, completely agree.
And everything else has been built very, very well. It's just, man, they're just like, hey, here's where we're going. Here's what we're going to give you. And to answer your question, Rob, it's going to be like, you ask, are they going to be able to deliver? There's only one way to find out. And that's either buy a ticket or buy the pay-per-view, which is smart booking. It's sales 101. Wow, look at what we're getting. Here's the free sample. Now, if you want to see the whole thing, you're going to have to pay for it. And that is just brilliant, brilliant booking and a brilliant sales job from Miku Ano and Mai Sakurai.
Yeah, I can't see either of the top two titles changing hands. I would be absolutely gobsmacked if either Miku Ano or Victoria Yuzuki drop at this pay-per-view. I'd be gobsmacked. And I think that would be, again, look at me like, oh, it's the wrong decision, Rossi. Who do I think I am? But I think it would be the incorrect decision to have either of these women drop the belt. But again, I don't think they will. We're going to talk about Victoria Yuzuki in a moment, and the buzz around her, despite not winning in the Tokyo Sports Awards, what she's done for the title already, and how it's elevated her. I mean, she is front and center on this pay-per-view poster. She's in front of Miku Ano on this pay-per-view poster. So again, a lot being put on Victoria Yuzuki. So I would be very surprised if she is going to drop the belt this early, and especially to someone like Shoko.
Yeah, none of that with a cool jacket. Look at that. They all got cool jackets on there.
I was just going to say, mate, Miku Ano's jacket is the best. Honestly, it's so beast. It really is.
Oh, really good. Yeah, man, we got to get Andy Header on that one to see only he can judge, buddy.
Only he can judge. Yeah, he is the only one qualified to judge this. We mentioned it earlier, but it was announced today as we record on the 18th of December that the Marigold 27th of December Korakuen Hall show will house the second annual Twinstar Cup in a one-night tournament. Now, if you remember last year, the entire tournament took place over one night on December 20th in Sendai Pit. That was won by Mirai and Mai Sakurai when they beat Natsumi Shozuki and Misa Matsui in the final. Rossi did actually announce that this was taking place after the press conference, but we had no names in terms of the field or in terms of what the first round matches were going to be. The only thing that we knew was that there was going to be 11 teams and that Misa Matsui and Chiaki, as champions, would receive a bye into the next round. However, Shupro then released a full list of teams and of the matches in the first round. So Korakuen Hall on the 27th of December will have no title matches, at least as I'm reading this. It will solely be the Twinstar Cup. And again, I think that will probably lead to a title chance, probably seeing them call their shot after first stream. So in terms of the full field of 11 teams, we have the Darkness Revolution team of Misa Matsui and Chiaki, the Darkness Revolution team of Nagisa Nozaki and Ria Sato. Celine Flora, Victoria Yuzuki, and Kazuna Tanaka, who are the only remaining team who took part in the first tournament. Miko Ano and Megaton, who, again, if you haven't seen their YouTube channel, their chemistry is brilliant. So I'm genuinely quite looking forward to their team. Mayu Iwatani and Kamomo Minami, Mai Sakurai and Arina Yamanaka, Chikagoto Minami Yuki, Nagisa Takibana and Yuki Yamazaki, Nao Ishikawa and Hummingbird, Shino and Seri Amoka. Keep an eye on that one. And Utami Hayashishita and Shoko Kashino. Those are your 11 teams. As I've mentioned already, Misa Matsui and Chiaki will receive a bye into the next round, whether that is a second round or whether that is a quarterfinal, depending on obviously how results fare. Now, before I go into what those first round matchups are, Matt, obviously some really good teams there. Celine Flora are always going to be up there, I think, for both of us in terms of tag teams. We love them. I think Shino and Seri Amoka is a team to keep an eye on. Certainly the same with Mayu Iwatani and Kamomo Minami. Obviously a huge push for Kamomo Minami. I think Mai Sakurai and Arina Yamanaka is a really good team. I do think had Chikagoto Minami Yuki not just had a title shot in Shinjuku Face, I think they would be one of the favorites to win it. However, that being said, of those 11 teams, Matt, who do you see winning the 20? Who's your early favorite for the 2025 Twinstar Cup?
There's really three teams that jump out. And to answer your question, obviously three teams can't win. And this is single elimination like last year, correct?
This is single elimination, all happening on one night. Yes.
One night. Like that'll be our in-flight movie because that's the 27th, right?
It happens. Man. It happens while we're in the air. Yeah.
Sweet. There we go. I'm going to go with Celine Flora. Again, maybe I'm going with my heart. I'm going to go with Celine Flora wins it. Or you can do Seri and Shino is a really great shout. I mean, geez, that's a violent team. Another way you can go with it is Mayu and Kamomo Minami, because then afterwards you could have Mayu kind of tip her hat towards Kamomo Minami, like, you were really great in this tournament. We won this.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're and you build up and hey, next time we're in Korakuen Hall, maybe on the Mayu 15th anniversary match, who knows? That's what you do it. You're going to get the shot at the Superfly Championship. So you can do it. Those are three ways there. Or Rob, you mentioned Chikagoto Minami Yuki. Maybe they win this because I did say when we reviewed that match last week, it was a good match, but I think they had a better match in them. And maybe that's what it was. Maybe they kind of they broke them down a little bit to build them back up. We know Rossi has done that time and time again. Did it with Julia, did it with Shuri, did it with Utami, did it with Mayu. So maybe that's just the simple booking. It's like, hey, we'll have a good match. We'll make sure Darkness gets over here, and then we'll have you guys win the Twinstar Cup, and then coming off first Dream, then maybe we'll have them go back for the belts and win them again. So I think there's like four choices there. I'm interested to see what kind of aura Mai Sakurai and Arina Yamayaka are going to come out. Maybe Mai Sakurai will give Arina one of her hats. I think that would be really key.
Imagine.
Yeah, I know. That would be, we got to come up with a team name for that. But some really interesting teams in that one. I think the Miko Ano Megaton is going to be a lot more comedic stuff. Maybe give Miko Ano a break for attempting near murder in all these matches with Mai Sakurai, which we are going to get into in these this one show here, or these two shows we're going to talk about. Well, they only wrestle each other in one show, but you know what I mean. But I'm going to go with Celine Flora. To answer your question, I can see 3 or 4 teams winning this. If you're asking me right here, right now, who do I think is winning it? I'm going to go with Kazuna Tanaka and Victoria Yuzuki. And again, maybe that's a little bit betting with my heart, but that's where I'm going to go with.
I do love the fact that when I said, who do you think is going to win this, you proceeded to go through every single team. I
broke it down.
Broke it down. Again, Celine Flora are always going to be up there. I don't think they will win this, even though I'd really like them to. I'm going to go with Shino and Seriyama Oka. I think they're a really good team. We saw that on the 13th, I believe. I can't remember which show it was off the top of my head, but we saw them as a team and they worked really, really well. My only thing with Mayu Utani and Komomo Minami is that in the first round, they've got Ria Sato and Nagisa Nozaki. And obviously, as number one contenders at the pay-per-view, I don't think they're going out in the first round. The other thing is with 5 matches in the first round, with obviously Chiaki and Misa Matsui going through to the second round, there's at least one match that's going to a double knockout or both teams getting eliminated, because 5 matches does not a bracket make. And we don't know the bracket yet. So at least one of the matches is going to be some sort of double elimination, double count out, time limit draw where both go out. Something like that is going to happen. And I think if that is going to happen, I would put my money on Komomo Minami, Mayu Iwatani, and the Darkness Revolution team of Ria Sato and Nagisa Nozaki. I think that will be the match that does that. The other matches are Miku Ano Megaton versus Shino and Seriyama Oka, Naoya Ishikawa and Hummingbird versus Nagisa Takibana and Yuki Yamazaki.
Ooh.
Celine Flora versus Chika Goto, Minami Yuki. And then Utami Hayashishita and Shoko Kashino versus Mai Sakurai and Arina Yamanaka. Don't take your eye off that one. I think that could be really good as well. Again, we don't know what the brackets are, so we don't know who, for example, if Naoya Ishikawa and Hummingbird defeat Nagisa and Yuka, we don't know who they are facing in the next round. We simply don't know. But looking at that bracket, and again, as I pointed out, for me, that's the only reason I don't see Komomo and Mayu going through, is because I don't think they're going to have the number one contenders to the titles going out in the first round. Again, I might be overthinking this spectacularly. But yeah, I think Rossi has also proved he has no problem bestowing accolades on young wrestlers. I mean, for goodness sake, Seriyama Oka was a twin star champion, a month after a debut, a month and a half after a debut, something like that. So it would not surprise me if Shino is a twin star champion twin star cup holder, should I say, at 16 years old. It wouldn't surprise me, because again, not only is she getting a lot of buzz, Bull Nakano picked her out by name. So again, it wouldn't surprise me. Plus, they've got Miku Ano Megaton in the first round. Like, if ever there was a first round win, it has to be that, because she already has submitted Megaton with the Scorpion Deathlock. It's going to happen again.
Yeah, or Sari with one of her submissions. I do like the booking of the first round of Utami and Shoko versus Mai Sakurai and Arena, because you have your former red belt champion in Utami teaming with the next challenger, Shoko, to take on the team of Arena, who's fantastic, and the next challenger for the red belt, Mai Sakurai. That is a really good, hey, here's and obviously Sonny and Stu are probably going to be on commentary. Hey, by the way, if you want to see more of these wrestlers, boom, here's the next show, the next pay-per-view, so that you can use that as a vehicle for Ota Ward. So I love tag team wrestling. I love a tournament, especially a one-night tournament, because you don't know which way it's going to go. And I love Cork and Hall, and I love Marigold, and I love professional wrestling. This all happens all together on one. This is like one big present, Rob. Almost as good as the present I got the other day. So, I mean, this is really, really good. Don't shake your head. You're just jealous.
Yes, that's what it is. It's pure green-eyed jealousy.
Look at that. As he's throwing me the middle finger, I can see you going like this. I see you doing that.
Can't we be demonetized? Yeah, I'm really glad this tournament's back, actually. I really enjoyed it last time. It's something a little bit different as well, instead of just doing sort of the tried and tested tag league, which, we've seen with New Japan twice with the Junior Tag League and the World Tag League. We've already seen it with Stardom as well. So I'm glad that we are doing something different, bringing back a one-night tournament, which I miss so much about the Cinderella tournament. But again, really glad we've got that here. And again, we've seen that it doesn't necessarily have to lead to a title shot. I think it probably should. And I think should Misa Matsui and Chiaki retain the Twin Star titles, and that's a match we didn't get into in terms of who we think is going to win.
Yeah.
I think on the balance of probability, I think I'm probably 60-40 that Chiaki and Misa will probably retain. There's not a person who is a fan of Marigold that can tell me that they wouldn't be excited at the possibility of a Chiaki and Misa versus Seri and Shino match.
Or Celine Flora, or anybody.
Or Celine Flora,
Yeah.
absolutely. Hey, man, if it's a Celine Flora final with Shino and Seri Amoka, I'm all over it. Celine Flora win, mate. I will be right there with you. I have been on the Celine Flora being tag champions for horse for God knows how long. So if that happens, I'm over the moon. But I've been burnt too many times. I blame Azumi, but I've been burnt that many times, especially with tag booking, that I'm just like, you know what? I refuse to book with my head, with my heart.
Yeah, again, really interesting stuff. Great stuff. Gives us just like another great lead in to the first stream having the tag tournament, because I thought it was an absolute home run last year, and they're bringing it back this year. But again, with some really interesting teams, especially Mayu and Kamon Manami. Really interested to see how they work as a team, considering we've already built up for their future Superfly Championship match coming up more than likely sometime in the new year, sir. So, yeah, really looking forward to that one. Again, folks, let us know who you think is going to win said tournament.
Moving on from the Twin Star Cup, and we are going to talk about Victoria Yuzuki. Obviously, as we recorded on Tuesday for the Stardom cast, the Tokyo Sports wrestling prizes came out. The results were released. Saya Kamatani becoming the first woman ever to win the MVP prize, which was obviously a huge, huge thing. The Rookie Award, obviously, which is something that Victoria Yuzuki has talked about, actually went to DDT's Kaisei Takechi. Now, I didn't realize at the time that Victoria Yuzuki was in second place for the rookie prize, so excellent for her. There are a few people who seem to think that Victoria Yuzuki has been robbed somewhat, and I don't know. Again, it's I don't know enough about Takechi. I simply don't. What I can say is that Takechi has only wrestled 8 matches in his career. He is an idol, however, who is a part of the J-pop group, the Rampage from Exile Tribe, or just the Rampage. But he wrestled 3 matches in 2024, then took basically a 9-month hiatus and didn't wrestle again until the 13th of July 2025. I do find it baffling that he's been bestowed the honor of being the Rookie of the Year when he's only wrestled 5 matches in 2025. When you think that Victoria Yuzuki has wrestled every damn show, has improved, however many fold, has held 2 different titles in the company as well, is now the second biggest champion in Marigold just 2 years into her career. I think she certainly should have got more votes. I do understand that part of the reasoning, I believe, is that because Takechi is sort of an idol, the idea is that he's bringing more people over to wrestling. And that sort of idea is what has garnered him a lot of support. Now, Ozawa, who, of course, was beaten to the MVP prize by Saya Kamatani, released a video on his YouTube channel in basically his reaction to the winners and things like that. Some of it's kayfabe, obviously, but he was very complimentary of Saya Kamatani, fully believes that Saya Kamatani should have won it. And you can find the full translation at Mira Wrestling. But I just wanted to bring something that he said about the rookie prize. The same goes for the Rookie of the Year award. Kaisei Takechi of the Rampage, which is the J-Pop group, won, but how many matches did he actually have this year? A person who only wrestled a few times as a side job becomes the most brilliant rookie wrestler of the year. Ultimately, he was also evaluated because and this is in inverted commas, he came from a popular group and brought pro wrestling to the public. There were many other rookie wrestlers who worked hard and excelled in the ring. If this logic holds, then next year's MVP will be Fua-chan.
Yeah.
She has more name recognition than anyone else and the power to spread pro wrestling to the public. The Tokyo Sports Wrestling Awards, once again this year, pandered to public opinion and showed favoritism towards the Bushi Road group. He was not a fan of Bushi Road during this promo. Saya Kamatani, again, and nothing but praise for her. But Bushi Road, not so much. And I get it. The Pro Wrestling Awards have absolutely no authority. That's what Inamura said. I'm more bothered about that rookie prize bit because obviously that's what we're focusing on. And I think he has a point. You know, is that something that should be brought in or should be thought about when you are voting for a wrestler? The amount of people you are bringing over. And if it does, okay. But surely what has to be done is it has to be weighted against the amount that you've actually wrestled. The fact that Takechi has only wrestled, did I say 5 matches this year? And has won the prize. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's 1/3 of the KOD Openweight Trios champions. Fair enough. But the fact that Victoria Yuzuki only got 3 votes, Seri Yamaoka got no votes, is really quite a head scratcher. And again, I do understand the idea of people from pop culture coming over to wrestling and bringing more eyes with them. I agree with that. And had Takechi wrestled more matches, I don't think this would be a discussion. However, focusing solely on Victoria Yuzuki, and again, she's had some really, really nice things said about her. Rossi came out and said Victoria Yuzuki received 3 votes for the Rookie of the Year at the Pro Wrestling Awards. No matter who wins, to me, Yuzuki is the Rookie of the Year and has grown tremendously over the past year. And I think both of us agree with that. We've mentioned before, like, she is a star. She really, really is. And she's transcended that, oh, well, in a couple of months with a bit of work, she's going to be up there. She is up there. She is one of the marketable names in Marigold. And to be able to build yourself up, having left one company, by the way, having taken a chance on herself to be a linchpin of a brand new fledgling company that doesn't have a deep roster, or certainly didn't in 2024, to wrestle a ridiculous amount of matches. She's one of the most tenured in the company in terms of matches wrestled. To hold their second highest title and to have already held the Superfly Championship. Whether she should have won or not is irrelevant. I do think she deserved more votes.
Lot to unpack here, Rob, because I never heard of that guy. Then once you mentioned he was part of an idol group, I do remember when he came in, I think his debut sold out Oda Ward or Sumo Hall or something. I know you have it right there. I remember they said that like DDT sold the most amount of tickets, or they sold out a decent sized venue, and it was based on him because DDT does well.
Corrigan Hall, 1,600 in Corrigan Hall.
Yeah, so
that was 2024. That was February 2024.
I just remember I never heard of him, and then I'm like, oh, I remember that. Now here's something else too. For me, a rookie is somebody that wrestles in its first year, so he wouldn't be considered a rookie, and neither would Victoria Yuzuki, in my opinion, because Yuzuki's been wrestling 2.5 years. So it's kind of like, well, good on Victoria Yuzuki getting some votes there. Out of all the people that were there, I would have definitely voted for Victoria Yuzuki. Now, granted, I do a Marigold podcast, and I'm a little bit biased, and I think Victoria Yuzuki is fantastic. If you're asking me right now, Rob, who's the Rookie of the Year in wrestling, in all of wrestling, to me, it's Seri Yamaoka, who obviously wasn't even up for it. I'm like, no. I was looking at those names, and I'm like, I don't, okay, whatever. But and another thing is, more than one person voted for this gentleman from DDT. So it wasn't like, well, it's my opinion, Rob has Victoria Yuzuki. He did get a decent amount of votes.
More than one. He got considerably more.
So more than one person had this idea, and I get it. You're trying to bring outside eyes in. At the same time, to me, it's Victoria Yuzuki. Out of all those people, it's Victoria Yuzuki. And again, I've seen every one of her matches this past year. And considering the fact that she wrestled more matches in the Dream Star than this guy did his entire year.
That's a very good point.
It's
I hadn't thought about that.
really, really weird. And I'll even say this. I know I said this a couple weeks ago. I know we were 2 weeks away from the end of the year. I'll say this: Victoria Yuzuki is my Marigold Wrestler of the Year over Utami, over Mayu, Miko Ano, Mai Sakurai.
Disagree with you, mate. It's hard to disagree.
And they've all had great years. But I mean, is there a wrestler on the roster that has had a more of an impact, better matches, bell to bell, singles, tag, trio, tournament matches than Victoria Yuzuki? So again, not only from that list, if that's the list you're giving me for Rookie of the Year, it's Victoria Yuzuki, and I will be here all day to tell you the reasons why. And then I think she's the Marigold Wrestler of the Year. In the year that Marigold, obviously it's only their second year, their first full year, had an absolute fantastic year. I think she's Marigold Wrestler of the Year, and I'm super excited to see what she's going to do on First Stream, and her and Kazuna Tanaka winning the Twinstar Cup in just about 10 days' time, good sir.
And I just want to quickly point out, this is absolutely nothing against Takechi. Absolutely nothing against Takechi whatsoever. If anything, it's more of an indictment of the selection process more than anything. Because again, it's sort of the newcomer award. And yeah, I'd agree. If you're going off in a rookie or newcomer category, I'd argue that Sariyama Oka probably qualifies more for that than Victoria Yuzuki does. However, I think that when Victoria Yuzuki has wrestled more matches in the Dream Star than Takechi has, she's also wrestled more title matches this year than Takechi has wrestled matches. She's won more title matches than Takechi has wrestled matches in 2025.
Want to hear another fun stat, Rob? Takechi, how many matches has he wrestled? 5?
5 this year, yeah.
How many did Victoria Yuzuki wrestle on that final night of the Dream Star? 2. So she's wrestled almost half the matches in one night that he has in the entire year. Again, obviously, like Rob said,
it's all subjective as well. That's the thing. Again, it's a panel's decision. You can think what you think. I just thought it was an interesting subject.
Yeah, I'm glad we chatted about it, buddy. But I think the bottom line we're trying to say is Victoria Yuzuki is damn good. And the scary thing about it, Rob, she's only going to get better. She's only going to get better. She is going to be the Mayu Io Kairi of this company in the next 3 or 4 years.
100%.
Yeah, and why wouldn't you build everything? And again, look at that jacket. Andy Header, if you're watching this on YouTube, buddy, give us a rate on that jacket. Hit that comment section. Give us a rate on that fur coat. Look at that. Look at that aura. Look at that. Look at that look. Real quick, speaking of Andy Header, so obviously, as you know, me, Andy, and the other Andy Zyke, are going to be doing our preview and predictions for the Tokyo Joshi Pro Show on 1/4. Andy, I'm going to give Andy Header the hardest job ever. So now I'm going to give our predictions. He's going to predict who has the best hair on that show and the best outfit on the show. Never has been done, as far as I know, in the history of pro wrestling. So we set the bar high on Talk Joshi, Ralph Goodwin.
There you go. I mean, to be fair, there's got to be top marks here for Victoria Yuzuki. I mean, literal drip that she has got right there. The fur coat, the 70,000 yen sunglasses, I believe, according to social media. There you go. Quite the appearance from Victoria Yuzuki.
Cherry red lipstick, too.
There you go. Honestly, what a boss. What an absolute... Yeah, what you said earlier about she's going to be the sort of Mayu Kairi Io figure of Marigold, I completely agree with you. If I'm Rossi, I am pinning rockets to this girl because again, she's proved when you've got Mayu and Io on a card and you are looking to do a better match than them, and you get quite damn close, you know you've got a special talent. And obviously that was my Sakurai as well, but Yuzuki again, that intensity, that desire to learn. She's a special talent, so I'm looking forward to seeing her grow and grow over the next. I'm really intrigued to see where she is in the next 18 months. I really, really am. Unfortunately, a little bit of sad news. We did find out that Kazuna Tanaka would be missing this weekend's Marigold shows from the 20th in Shibuya and Honjo City on the 21st of December due to what is being labeled as ongoing back pain. Now, she was scheduled to face Misa Matsui on Saturday, and she was part of a 6-woman tag on Sunday. The cards have been amended, and we're going to go through those in a moment. Obviously, it's not the first time that Kazuna Tanaka has missed action through back injury. She, of course, wrestled a couple of matches wearing that huge back brace. came back from that injury on Boxing Day, if you remember, and then didn't return until the middle of March. So fingers crossed it is just a little bit of discomfort and it's not reoccurrence of that injury. Obviously, currently she is still being advertised for the Twinstar Cup on the 27th, and she was at the press conference as well today for First Dream. So hopefully just a little bit of time to recover, to rest, and to basically get a little bit of ice on that back.
Yeah, it's a good time this weekend to rest up because again,
Absolutely, yeah.
because you have the tag league or the Twinstar Cup coming up in Cork, and then your big show to start off this year. So if you're going to need time off, this is the time to take it and then get ready to ramp up for the big show at the end of the year and then the big show the week after to start off the year in Oda Ward City Gym, which myself and Rob Goodwin will be present. So come over and give us a high five.
Moving on just very, very quickly before we do get into the two shows that we're going to be talking about today. The cards have been announced for those two shows, as I mentioned. Saturday in Shibuya on the 20th of December. The card is as follows. Megaton will be taking on Rhea Sato in singles action. Nagisa Takibana versus Misa Matsui. Naoya Ishikawa versus Chiaki. And then we've got two 6-woman tags. The first, Mayu Iwatani, Victoria Yuzuki, and Yuki Yamazaki. They will be taking on Utami Hayashishita, Hummingbird, and Komomo Minami. And then in your main event that it is currently set out as, Miko Ano, Chika Goto, and Minami Yuki. They will be taking on Mai Sakurai, Seriyamoka, and Shino. On the Sunday, on the 21st, the card opens with Yuki Yamazaki versus Shino. That's going to be very, very tasty. This is in Honjo City, by the way. I couldn't remember if I'd said. Naoya Ishikawa versus Megaton versus Misa Matsui in a 3-way. We've then got our white belt preview. Victoria Yuzuki and Seriyamoka versus Shoko Kashino and Hummingbirds. The birds, the flock, Matt, are back together. Miko Ano, Chika Goto, and Nagisa Takibana will then be taking on Mai Sakurai, Rini Yamanaka, and Minami Yuki. And then in your main event, it is Mayu Iwatani, Utami Hayashishita, and Komomo Minami taking on the Darkness Revolution trio of Rhea Sato, Chiaki, and Nagisa Nozaki. Two good cards for this weekend, Matt, but for me, the two that stand out, the two matches that stand out are both on this 21st show. Shino versus Yuki Yamazaki and that white belt preview, Victoria Yuzuki and Seriyamoka versus The Flock.
Yeah, not only that, but then on that Saturday show, we have another Mai Sakurai on one side, Miko Ano on the other. And I do want to say, buddy, if you guys are watching this on YouTube, the renders here for Marigold are fantastic. If you mind going back to the previous slide real quick, buddy?
Not a problem at all. The one from the 20th.
What Minami Yuki on the top. Look how happy she looks.
Honestly.
She looks as happy as me when we started this episode. She looks so happy. Obviously, and what I'm liking about it, it's distracting me from the Sari Yamaoka render, which I made mention last week. The side eye is scary. Frightening. Now go back to the slide we just said. Look at Komomo Minami. She looks almost as happy as Minami Yuki. And Chiaki looks great, looks fantastic as well. The render, they seem like they're having the time of their life taking pictures over at Marigold, my friend. I want to get in on that. They just look like it's just so much fun working for Marigold. Yeah,
it does look that way, doesn't it?
Look at them. They all look great. They all look having the time of their lives. Yeah, two great shows. Again, another preview. We have a preview white belt match, a preview red belt match, and then obviously we have three massive baby faces here in Mayu Utami, Komomo Minami versus your three big heels, and Nagisa, Chiaki, and Rhea Sato. So again, really loading up some great cards, getting us really pumped up for that end of the year Cork, and then of course First Dream coming up on the 3rd of January.
With that, let's go into these two shows from the weekend. We are going to start with the show on the 13th of December, True Victory 2025 Night 7. Again, from the Osaka 176 box. Just a note, Nagisa Takibana absent from the Nara show on November 30th and the Sapporo show on December 6th. She was also absent from these two shows as well. However, she is advertised to return to action on the 20th of December in Shibuya. As I mentioned, 176 box in Osaka. The announced attendance, 389 people. It's a 10.39% decrease from their previous attendance at the venue, which was 425 back in November. It's actually actually the lowest company attendance at 176 box since the 10th of May, which was 7 shows ago. It does, however, remain above the average Marigold currently have at the venue, with their current average from the 15 shows they've run being 379. Just the 5 matches on this card. And we open with a singles match. Rhea Sato defeated Minami Yuki with the calf branding in 7 minutes and 39 seconds. Another singles match, Yuki Yamazaki defeated Megaton with a lateral crab in 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Tag match, Saryamoka and Shino defeated Kazuna Tanaka and Komomo Minami, with Saryamoka pinning Komomo with a German suplex in 10 minutes and 56 seconds. Really good match. One of my favorite matches on the 2 cards. 6-woman tag, semi-main, Chika Goto, Mai Sakurai, and Shoko Kashino. They defeated Hummingbird, Naoya Ishikawa, and Utami, with Shoko getting the pin over Naoya Ishikawa with a diving body press in 10 minutes. And then in your main event of the show, the 6-woman tag match, Mayu Iwatani, Miko Ano, and Victoria Yuzuki. They defeated the Darkness Revolution team of Nagisa Nozaki, Chiaki, and Misa Matsui. Miko Ano pinning Chiaki with a Styles Clash in 16 minutes and 21 seconds. So, Matt, let's talk about Rhea Sato and Minami Yuki. You were crying out last week for Megaton to not be in the opener. She wasn't, and they opened with Minami Yuki and Rhea Sato instead. Are you a happy little camper now?
I am, because this card flowed really well.
It was really good, this card.
And then the show on the 14th may have had my favorite Marigold tag match of this year, which we'll get into, good sir.
I know the one you're going to talk about. We all know the one you're going to talk about, brother.
This show had a little bit of everything. This was great. Again, Rhea Sato, Minami Yuki, tremendous stuff. We're doing a really good job building up Rhea Sato. She's just coming off a near miss of winning the United National Championship about 2 weeks ago in an absolute must-see match with Victoria Yuzuki. Minami Yuki is somebody, she was the Rookie of the Year this year, so she's somebody that we know is pegged for big things coming up next year. Maybe her and Chika Goto, a run as Twin Star Tag Champions. We shall see, but a really good way to start this match, or start the show. Wish I got a little bit more time, but again, really great stuff. Rhea Sato is very aggressive when it comes to the technical wrestling and breaking down certain body parts. Minami Yuki, we can see that she's becoming a better baby face seller, which is especially with Chika Goto. Like, you want her to be taking the heat. Like, you can see she's doing a great job when Rhea Sato is breaking down the body parts of Minami Yuki, and Minami Yuki knows how to register it, knows how to sell, what to sell, not sell too much. As Ricky Morton says, you don't want to die the first part of your selling, because after that, where do you go from there? Minami Yuki understands selling and crowd psychology. Great fire back here. Great bump and feed from Rhea Sato. That's what you always want from your heel, a heel that can feed a comeback. Excellent stuff there. But eventually, it is the old Dickie Murdoch Gravedigger, now known as the calf branding, putting away one Minami Yuki. I had this at 3.25 stars. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Just wish it went about a minute and a half longer. But regardless, thoroughly enjoyed this one. Really the perfect way to start off this fantastic show.
Yeah, I am a big fan of the name calf branding. And you raised a very good point. Obviously, Minami Yuki, the 2024 Rookie of the Year. I wonder if they will run that tournament again this year in Shinjuku Face on the New Year's Eve show, because that was what they did, if you remember, last year. And I was just having to think while you were talking then. And obviously, you can still enter Minami Yuki in that tournament. You've also got Yuki Yamazaki. You've got Shino. You've got Komomo Minami.
Sari. You should just run through everybody.
I was just going to say, you can't have Sari in the tournament. Like,
the Rookie of the Year, dude.
No, you can't, man. You can't have her and Victoria Yuzuki in the bloody Rookie of the Year tournament.
Well, how's that her fault? She wasn't in because she didn't debut. That's not her fault. That's not her fault. Put her in the tournament.
If Saryamoka enters that tournament, she wins it and doesn't break a sweat, which is a shame. I wouldn't enter her in it simply because I would want the spotlight to be on somebody else. And I think if that was the case, I think they will have it be Komomo Minami.
That's a good shout too. Have Komomo Minami and Saryamoka in the finals and just give him like 12 minutes and just let it go.
I mean, she did pin Mirai clean, so maybe she gets a shock roll up over Sari. Maybe
we'll find out, buddy. Well, that's the show that's like 6 minutes from our hotel, right?
That is a 6-minute walk from our hotel, New Year's Eve. Yes.
And that's the one that, if you remember last year, what didn't they do like a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 countdown for New Year's?
I believe so, yeah.
I think that's what they're doing this year too. That's where we might
Fingers
be spending
crossed.
New Year. Man, if we watch wrestling as the ball drops, that'd be great. Beats the
Yeah.
last few years with me and Amber asleep on the couch. We're in our 40s, you know.
Moving on, Yuki Yamazaki and Megaton. You actually were very complimentary of this pairing last week because of Yuki Yamazaki's ability to play off of Megaton's comedy stuff.
Rob, this was great. And I may mention, I kind of I didn't like the Megaton matches we got last week. I just don't think they played to her strengths. And I didn't know she was wrestling Yuka until you mentioned it. And I'm like, they had a match a few weeks ago that was really, really good. Rob, this one was even better. I was thoroughly entertained on this one. Now, you did make a claim of one Yuki Yamazaki. Where you think they're going with their booking? I will say this, good sir. I'm going to break this down in simple terms and simple psychology. Yuka comes out first, and she has a cool shirt. I was like, oh, good for you, Yuka. Make that merch money. Megaton comes out, and she's wearing Yuka's shirt as well. And they shake hands. It was like, hey, you know what, Yuka? We're going to have a match, but I'm going to help you sell some merch. So it's like, oh, you get 2 looks at that. How does Yuka repay Megaton? She takes her shirt off and beats her with it and chokes her with it. Rob, you know who does that?
Rhea Sato.
A heel. So there you go, buddy. Yeah. Hey, I'm not saying something that you don't already know.
There you go.
I was like, Rob may have a point here. I'm like, Megaton's trying to be nice, and then Yuka chokes her with her own shirt. Very rude. Very rude. I'll tell you what, Rob, I think this was great. The comedy spots were great. They did the same spot in this match that they did in the previous match, which I got a kick out of. Yuzuki's running the ropes, and Megaton just turns around and jump scares her. And then you could take like a Kurt Hennig boom snap, like Ted DiBiase style snap bump, like a really perfect textbook, like Bill Watts style mid-south bump. I was like, oh man, that was great. This is really great stuff back and forth. Megaton debuts the running Megaton press. We've seen her do the standing one and then miss the first rope or the second rope. She does a running one, kind of like the Ultimate Warrior. So I thought this was great. Really great stuff back and forth. The crowd thoroughly enjoyed this. The comedy was there. It didn't overstay its welcome. This was terrific. Eventually, though, it is Yuka getting the win with the roll up. Rob, I actually liked this match more than I did the opener. I gave this one 3.5 stars. This might be the highest rated Megaton. This is what I want from my Megaton matches. Not unless you're putting in a tag match and you have all the serious stuff in, and then Megaton comes in with the comedy because she knows her comedic role. This is the perfect Megaton match. Thoroughly enjoy this one, buddy. Again, this was the perfect pro wrestling show. This was great.
Yeah, it was a very, very good show. Moving on then, it's Yamaoka and Shino giving us a preview of what we are now getting at the Twinstar Cup versus Kazuna Tanaka and Komomo Minami. Again, I thoroughly enjoyed this match. Really, really, really enjoyed this match. Shino and Seri were a great team. I'm a huge fan of Kazuna Tanaka and Komomo. And again, it was just another showcase of the talent that Marigold have in spades, especially on this undercard as well, before you head into those main event matches where, you get your Mayu, your Utami, your Victoria Yuzuki, now your Mika Wano and Mai Sakurai. There are so many wrestlers now that Marigold have. And I know that Fuka has said recently that they are holding more auditions. And I believe one of the auditionees, I don't know if that's a word, someone who's auditioning, it absolutely is now, is a member of the rhythmic gymnastic team for Japan. So there you go. Maybe we will see her. But again, this match just showcased everything I love about these 4 women.
Wow. Remember Will Ferrell when he did the rhythmic gymnastic routine in Old School? Maybe that's what they bring in. Oh, Will Ferrell comes out with the rhythm. Oh my goodness. Somebody book Will Ferrell.
Not enough Old School references on this podcast.
Oh man, it's one of the most quotable movies of all time,
It
Unbelievable. Is. Fill it up again. So good when it hits your lips. Anywho, speaking of so good, Rob, this match was so good. We've seen so much great stuff with Seri and Kazuna Tanaka. That's a pairing that works right now. It's going to work even better in the future. Those two are fantastic. We got that great Shino versus Kazuna Tanaka match back a few months ago at Grand Destiny. They picked up right where they left off. And Komomo Minami, you can tell coming off her not qualifying for the Dream Star, has a chip on her shoulder. And she wrestled like she had a chip on her shoulder. Excellent stuff there. But you're absolutely right, buddy. Seri and Shino as a tag team here, they were terrific. And I even had in my notes, these two work really well as a tag team. Now we know they're in the Twinstar Cup. There's one spot where it looks like they're going to go for the heart attack, but instead of Shino hitting the clothesline, Shino hits like the rising palm strike, like the Venus, like the Shima Christopher Daniels style rising palm strike. I thoroughly enjoy that. There's this one spot where Kamomo Minami, when she makes her comeback, she's so explosive. She hits those shotgun knees and then hammerlock DDT. So she's starting to build her comeback on Sari, and Sari's doing a great job bumping and feeding for her. Kamomo's really getting the crowd behind her. She shoots Sari into the turnbuckle, and Sari in one jump does a leap and then comes and just spears Kamomo like almost onto the other side of the ring. I thought that was great because it looks so flawless yet so violent at the same time. And it was a great comeback spot from Sari after Kamomo had her comeback spot. Excellent stuff there. The kicks and strikes from Kazuna Tanaka. Again, she's one of my favorite wrestlers on this loaded roster. But eventually we get like a mini singles match with Sari and Kamomo Minami, which was terrific. And then Sari goes for the gut wrench suplex, but Kamomo rolls over and almost gets a roll up there. I thought that was a really cool way to counter the gut wrench suplex. I've never seen anybody counter the gut wrench suplex out of us with a sunset flip. I thought that was great. Eventually, Sari gets the gut wrench suplex, and then it hits its like snap, really wicked, almost Utami style German suplex to put away Kamomo Minami. 4.25 stars for me, my friend. I thought this was absolutely fantastic. And the fact we're getting Sari and Shino as a tag team in the Twinstar Cup. And then again, maybe that's the route they go for next year is Shino and Sari as a constant tag team in Marigold. I will absolutely take that one. Again, buddy, 4.25 stars for me. This was all sorts of brilliant.
First of all, 6-woman tags. And obviously, following this match, we did get Chikagoto officially challenging Utami for First Dream, and Utami agreeing to that special singles match. But Matt, obviously, Shoko Kashino obviously needed a big performance in this match to really cement herself. Got the win over Now with that diving body press. What were your thoughts both on Shoko Kashino's performance, we've already talked about Utami and Chikagoto, and then the match in general?
You know, when the match started, I was first kind of scratching my head because I'm like, why don't they have Victoria Yuzuki in this match to build up Shoko? And how come we don't have Miko Ano? Because we need more Miko Ano versus Mai Sakurai violence. And then you find out because they don't want to take away from the spotlight of building Utami and Chikagoto. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. It's actually really, really brilliant. Again, who am I to tell Ross Ogawa how to book his show? So I'm like, that makes sense. You're absolutely right. Obviously, Sakurai was great here. Chikagoto was terrific as well because, again, she has a big match coming up, even though it's not for a title. You're wrestling one of the biggest Joshi stars in the last 5 or 6 years with Utami Hayashishita. But the main focus here was let everybody get in, let everybody get a big shine. But we need to build Shoko up because she's got the big championship match coming up on Oda Ward, excuse me. That's exactly what they did. And Utami did a great job, as she always does. She bumping, feeding, making the stuff she did with Shoko look really good. And as well, she's got a match to sell. Same thing with Chikagoto. Same thing there. She takes a lot of big bumps for Chikagoto in this match, like really making Chikagoto's offense look more devastating than it already does. The only other wrestler in wrestling right now that does that is Saya Kamatani. So I'm just going to use this platform to say Rob Goodwin, Queen's Quest forever. Queen's Quest forever. Regardless, I liked how we built up Shoko during the match, and then she gets the big win at the end. This was a great match after we just saw a fantastic tag match. 3 3/4 stars for me. Really, really great stuff. Great seeing Utami back in, and really excited to see Utami versus Chikagoto on the 3rd of January.
Moving on to our main event, Mayu, Miku, and Victoria Yuzuki getting the win over the Darkness Revolution. Miku Ano planting Jackie with that style squash. Just a regulation one. No avalanche ones today, unfortunately. But Matt, what were your thoughts on this main event? And I knew I wanted to say something about you saying you wanted more Mai Sakurai and Miku Ano violence. I'm quite glad that they aren't being forced to partner with each other every single show, simply because I do wonder, again, it's almost getting to a point where they won't have anything left for the pay-per-view. So don't mind them obviously being partnered every other show or something, especially as we get closer. But I think it's a good idea to sort of keep them separate as well, so we don't sort of think, well, what have they got left? And it's great to see her be so dominant again in this main event, and just biffing Jackie around the ring, which is always great. Plus, give me Victoria Yuzuki and Nagisa Nozaki. That's a match I want to see for the United National title.
100%. Rumor has it, Rob, this is supposed to be a 10-person tag on this Mayu Utami team. It was supposed to be 1984 Hulk Hogan and 1993 Michael Jordan. Like they cut the curtain. I'm like, is this the most OP six-person tag team
Quite possibly.
Marigold this year? Like, holy, you have Mayu, who's Superfly champion and the greatest of all time. You have Miko Ano, red belt champion, Victoria Yuzuki, again, probably my Marigold wrestler of the year, and your United National champion. So I was like, wow, what an OP team. Like we couldn't bring Hogan in from 84 or like Terry Funk from like 96 in like IWA Japan. Like what an OP team. But at the same time, look who they're up against the ring against. They're, the psychology of this match is as great as Mayu, Miko Ano, and Victoria Yuzuki are. They never team together as a trio, where obviously the Darkness have. So what do to start the match? They jump. We get a floor brawl. Victoria Yuzuki's on the cell. Excellent stuff there. We get the hot tag to Mayu. Mayu comes in and plays the hits, and you want to see Mayu play the hits. The evasion dropkick, that double knuckle lock Arabian press, double arm drag that she does so good. We've seen her do it time and time again over the years in Stardom and the year here in Marigold. I still have no idea how she does it. Miko Ano coming in and just laying the kicks and just the thuds you hear. I mean, Miko Ano is absolutely here to bring it. Then we get a little bit of heat on Miko Ano, and then we get, and I mentioned this a few times before, some teamwork with Victoria Yuzuki and Mayu Iwatani. Again, Rob, we want to beef up the tag division. There's an OP team right there for you. The double super kicks, excellent stuff there. Absolutely. Victoria Yuzuki versus Nagisa Nozaki. Give us that as a Twin Star or as a United National Championship match coming up somewhere in the new year. Really great stuff. Yuzuki comes in with a pump knee to Chiaki that opens up the door for the sliding lariat from Miko Ano. Great tag work with Victoria Yuzuki and Miko Ano. You're two big champions in this company as well. Obviously, Yuzuki and Mayu, when we get to see them team up, it seems like they've been teaming together forever. There's some really great stuff here with Miko Ano and Victoria Yuzuki. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Chiaki is somebody they're clearly building a lot on. They're giving her a lot of big matches and a lot of big wins over the last few shows. They're putting a lot of stock in her, and rightfully so. Chiaki will look great here. Misa Matsui is another next level competitor in this company. Eventually, though, it is the Rainmaker that Miko Ano hits onto Chiaki and then hits just a normal version of the Styles Clash. Rob, I like this one almost as much as I like the tag match we talked about before. 4.25 stars for me. This was a great way to end a great show. The crowd was really invested in this one. I like it when they do these tag matches where you have your baby faces everybody loves and the heels that everybody loves to boo, because you want to send the crowd home happy. Send them home happy by putting the baby faces over the heels that everybody likes to boo. Again, this was the perfect show with the perfect ending. This was great. Again, 4.25 stars for me, top to bottom. Just a fantastic show.
Moving on to the second and final show, we are going to be talking about today's Night 8 of the True Victory Tour, 14th of December from the Tahara City Gymnasium in Aichi. The attendance, by the way, 425. Only the second time the company have run the venue, though it is the first time back in December last year. The official attendance wasn't actually announced, so we have no sort of frame of reference as to what this attendance is like. Obviously, it was announced prior that Joshi legend and WWE Hall of Famer Bull Nakano was in attendance at this show, made her presence known during the main event as well. Three-way tag match opened proceedings. Hummingbird defeating Kazuna Tanaka and Minami Yuki. Hummingbird getting the pinfall over Minami Yuki in 7 minutes and 27 seconds. Tag team match, Chika Goto and Shino defeated Megaton and Now Ishikawa. Shino submitting Megaton, obviously, with the Scorpion Deathlock in 9 minutes and 9 seconds. Singles match, Nagisa Nozaki defeated Yuki Yamazaki with a Noir Lancer in 7 minutes and 14 seconds. In the match that I'm sure Matt is going to regale us with a little bit later on, because what a bloody match this was. Seri Yamaoka and Mai Sakurai and the team of Victoria Yuzuki and Miko Ano ended in a time limit draw, a 15-minute time limit draw. And then in your main event, 6-woman tag team action, the Darkness Revolution team of Misa Matsui, Ryo Saito, and Chiaki defeated Mayu Iwatani, Utami Hayashishita, and Komomo Minami. Chiaki pinning Komomo Minami with the guillotine leg drop in 16 minutes and 10 seconds. A move which, according to Chiaki in her post-match comments, has officially been bestowed upon her by Bull Nakano, who gave her blessing for her to carry on using it. So quite the rub for the Dark Wolf. Match number 1 then, three-way Hummingbird getting the victory, pinning Minami Yuki. Matt, what were your thoughts on this as an opener?
Again, really great opener. Three great young wrestlers. They just seem really well to gel well with each other. You had great striking exchanges between all three, great high-speed action between all three, some great back and forth near roll-ups. But as Hummingbird, Rob, going to the shock of many, getting a rare win, getting it almost like seeing a rare bird out there in the field, Rob going. Hummingbird getting the win over Minami Yuki. I thoroughly enjoyed this one. I would love to see some singles matches with all these pairings: Kazuna Minami, Minami Hummingbird, Hummingbird Kazuna Tanaka. Again, three fantastic wrestlers that I thoroughly enjoy watching. 3.25 stars for me. Again, a really good way to start off this show.
Moving on to tag action, Chika Goto and Shino getting the win over Naoya Ishikawa and Megaton. I'd love to say that Megaton held on in any sort of way before submitting to the Scorpion Deathlock, but that will be a lie, as anyone listening to this podcast with any sort of regularity will know. Shino submitting Megaton almost instantly with that move. But again, it's now Ishikawa that I come out of this match going, I want to see more of her in a prevalent position, because her stuff with Shino and her stuff with Chika Goto was really, really good here. It almost feels like she is Miss Consistency on these undercards.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing a great job building up the Kamo Manamis, the Kazuna Tanakas, the Chika Gotos. We've been saying it for like a year. Like, they really need to put some stock in Naoya Ishikawa. She is fantastic. Again, she's always eating L's or only having 5 or 6 minutes to tell her story, but she maximizes every second she gets in the ring. She's fantastic. The best stuff for me in this match was her stuff with Chika Goto. Really, really great stuff. Also, Rob, I don't know if it's just me, if you're going to agree with me or not, but I don't know if Shino got the memo that, like, when you're in the ring with Megaton, it's supposed to be like a ha-ha comedy thing. She was laying into poor Megaton. And there was something
She really was.
Like Megaton just seemed like, holy geez, calm down. Because like she's throwing the kicks and Megaton's trying to get away, and she's like kicking her in the shoulder and then the chest and then the arm, where Megaton was like, either, let me get a chance to sell or let me feel. Like Shino was like properly like, nope, I don't get to wrestle that much because obviously she's in school. I'm taking advantage of every second as she waylaid on the poor Megaton and then putting Megaton in the sharpshooter. Fun enough stuff. Again, for me, Chika Goto versus Naoya Ishikawa was my favorite part of this match. 3.25 stars for me.
Moving on then, Yuki Yamazaki versus Nagisa Nozaki. Potentially stablemates later on, Matt. I am going to continue to flog that dead horse. I'm always a big fan of Nagisa Nozaki on these undercards, where she just gets to brutalize a rookie because she takes such a weird satisfaction in it, and I love it. I really, really do. Yuka had some great moments in this match, don't get me wrong, some really good fire-ups, and she's someone who gets the fundamentals really, really well and is really, really solid in those fundamentals. I'm just a big fan of Nagisa as a singles wrestler. And again, I can really see her and Victoria Yuzuki having an absolutely tear-down match at Corrigan Hall.
Yeah, Nagisa is one of the more intimidating wrestlers on this roster. She's one of the big heels. She's not afraid to bend and break the rules, but she'll kick your teeth right down your throat. And she has a lot of experience. We're again, Yuka's only a rookie, but Yuka took it right to her. The bell rings, she drop kicks her, forearms, the whole nine. And you're like, okay, the tide's gonna turn. Nagisa throws the chops, the forearms, the big knees, the running boots. And Yuka comes and takes it right back. She has that beautiful step up in Saguri. And then a code breaker, really cool combination there from Yuka. She always seems like she's trying to add 1 or 2 new things into her offensive arsenal, which I really enjoy. And I like that combination. You hit the Enziguri, the person's kind of on Dream Street, and then you take advantage of that with the code breaker. Thoroughly like that. That scored a 2 count. And then Yuka fires back the chops to Nagisa. So that was really good, showing Yuka a lot of fire here, a lot of intensity. But eventually, though, it was Nagisa with that Joshi-style dropkick and the sliding Noir Lancer, putting away one Yuki Yamazaki. Again, another great match on these 2 shows. 3 3/4 stars for me, my friend.
I'm just going to let you go with this one because the 13th show, I think, was a better all-round show. This was by far the best match on either card. This was as good as we thought it was going to be when we sort of had a look at it last week. And if anything, surpassed a little bit of expectation, which, considering this was a house show effectively, was quite the achievement, Matt.
Yeah, I think I watched these two shows back to back because I think they were only running time like 3 hours, like
Yeah,
together.
it wasn't long at all.
But I knew because I just have so much other stuff to do that I was like, I need to get this in when I can get it in. So I think I kind of just I ran through both these shows back to back. And again, the 13 show was great, great. And this show was great, don't get me wrong. But the 13 show, you're exactly right. I liked better. But this was the best match.
Mhm.
This match was so good. Again, I have to go through my notes. Maybe my favorite Marigold tag match all year. Probably one of my favorite matches I've seen all week. And you know, I watch a lot of wrestling, Rob. I think right now only one match that I've seen is better. I'll give you a hint. It took place today, so I'm sure you can probably figure that out with another tag team that's like
Quite
an
possibly.
oh, jeepers creep. Wait till you see that match. Anywho, this was phenomenal. I've been enjoying all of these tag matches with Miko on one side, Sakurai on the other, and they brought up the intensity. Some of those slaps were just like, and Sakurai was just like, I'm coming for that belt. She stared into Ano's soul, and Ano was basically, you can tell with their body language is like, if you want to take this belt off me, you're gonna have to kill me. Sakurai damn near did, and then put her in an STF, from what I understand from the press conference today. So,
Yep.
well, why not? I mean, these again, in my opinion, it's the best built up match going into that Wrestle Kingdom weekend, which is saying something because we have a lot of really good build ups and a lot of really great matches coming up at the end of this year, going into next year. But again, Victoria Yuzuki and Sarah Yamaoka, I said it last week when they're doing Shoko and Victoria Yuzuki, like, okay, that's going to be a big spot for Shoko, but maybe it should be Sari. And then I watched this match and I was like, no disrespect to Shoko. I think that semi-main event needs to be Sari versus Victoria Yuzuki. Not unless they're saving it, Rob, for a main event in Cork and Hall show, because maybe that match gets lost in the shuffle with Takumi and Mayu and Miko Ano, Mai Sakurai. So maybe they're like, we'll save that to be the main event, the main focus of a Corkin show. Maybe that's what they're doing, because we've seen Yuzuki and Sari have great chemistry before, and they up the intensity. I mean, just excellent stuff here. Great teamwork too, again, from both these teams. You have your two big champions all on one side, very much like I talked about in the main event with Mayu on the show from the 13th. Just some really great stuff. There's this one spot where Miko Ano is just waylaying kicks to Mai Sakurai. And it's just like, how many can she take before she can go down? Like, oh my goodness, like, referee, stop the match. And Sakurai hits this slap and just rocks Miko Ano. By the time Miko Ano knows what hits her, here comes the shining black from Mai Sakurai. So I really like that. I liked how Miko Ano didn't show like she can see Mai Sakurai coming towards her. It's like she sold the slap, and then by the time she turned her head, it was too late because then she gets the boot to the face. I thoroughly like that. Sarah Yamaoka, like we know she's great with the ground wrestling. All of a sudden, she's like watching her best of Rey Mysterio tapes. 619 springboard Joshi dropkick to Victoria Yuzuki, because we're adding more stuff into the great arsenal that is the fantastic rookie that is Sarah Yamaoka. Excellent stuff there. Miko Ano hits a huge head kick onto Sarah Yamaoka, and the Victoria Yuzuki comes back with the pump knee. Excellent stuff there. Yuzuki with the crossface onto Sarah Yamaoka. Sarah is able to get out of that and then hits this insane release German suplex. Then if that wasn't enough, then she hits this German suplex that absolutely plants Victoria Yuzuki in the middle of the mat. Absolutely brutal stuff. And then we see Victoria Yuzuki. She comes back. She hits the pump knee, and then that opens up the door for her. By her, I mean Victoria Yuzuki. They hit that spinning suplex that usually sets up for the Victoria shooting. However, the time expires. This was all sorts of violence, brilliance, and it makes me want to see more between Miko Ano versus Mai Sakurai and Victoria Yuzuki and Sarah Yamaoka. This is as great as professional wrestling gets. The fact they did this on a random quote-unquote house show, Rob.
House show.
Unbelievable. The effort of these ladies, just fantastic. 4.5 stars for me, buddy. Again, maybe my favorite Marigold tag match of the year. One of my favorite matches I have seen all week, folks, and I watch at least 3 matches a week, at least.
And some of those aren't Megaton matches. The main event, of course, had to follow that, but again, a really good main event. Darkness Revolution getting the win with a Bull Nakano assist. So that's Mirai and Bull Nakano now that are possible satellite members of the Darkness Revolution. What did you think of this one, Matt?
This was really fun. I didn't expect that outcome of Chia. I mean, I mentioned it on the show we just reviewed. You have your big baby faces versus your big heels. So I'm like, oh, they're just going to send the fans home happy, having Mayu get the win or Tommy getting the win here. But I was like, oh, and then I understood why. Chiaki hits the leg drop. Bull Nakano, obviously, a little bit of an assist from Bull Nakano, and then Bull Nakano basically saying that leg drop that you've been doing, I give you my blessing. So what a great rocket that strapped to Chiaki. Obviously, Rhea Sato was great. Rhea Sato was great here. Her stuff with Utami, excellent stuff. Give me that in a Cork and Hall show, 13, 14 minutes. You know, Tommy's going to make Rhea look already better than she does. Misa and Mayu, we saw them have a great match a few months ago. I believe it was in the summer for the Superfly Championship. They have really great chemistry. Kamomo Manami does a great job on the selling. Like, she does a great, because you get your wild brawl to start, and then it's like, okay, you know, Kamomo's going to take the heat because the big hot tag is going to go to your more explosive wrestlers. That is Mayu and Utami. So it makes sense. Mayu comes in the hot tag. Again, she hits all the big spots. She knows where to play the crowd because Mayu's a great seller. She's great psychology. She understands where to get the crowd where they need to be and where to place the heels in the next segment. Misa Matsui, again, excellent stuff here. She does this one spot where she hits a double stomp onto Kamomo's back. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Kamomo just had the perfect sell, and you can feel the crowd giving Kamomo sympathy. Excellent stuff there. Eventually, though, everybody hits the waterfalls. There's Kamomo Nami with the big dive, not Mayu with the best suicide dive you'll see in wrestling outside of Io Shirai, but not Utami hitting like a sliding lariat. Kamomo gets the big high spot towards the end as we build Kamomo up, but eventually just too much Darkness Revolution that does in one Kamomo Nami. It opens up the door for Chiaki to hit the Bull Nakano leg drop. I think that's what we'll call it now, Rob. Excellent match. Chiaki getting the win here. 4 stars for me. Again, these two shows Marigold always puts together great shows, but these two back-to-back, again, quote-unquote house shows, were thoroughly entertaining. Not a bad spot anywhere in these 3 hours and change of wrestling from these two shows. But this was a really great way to end these run of shows, buddy. Again, 4 stars for me.
Just briefly then, before we forget, of course, we are coming to you on the 20th and 21st this week from Shibuya on the 20th on the Saturday, and then Honjo City on the 21st. And then it's Korakuen Hall and that Twinstar Cup. We've then got the New Year's Eve show, and then that's it for 2025 in terms of Marigold. And then we're heading straight into that, what is effectively a reset heading into the new year with that pay-per-view. And then, of course, you've got Mayu Iwatani's 15th anniversary show in the middle of January as well, just to add to all that Marigold goodness. It's a very good time to be a Marigold fan. Seems like they're firing on all cylinders heading into 2026, which is great news, of course. Now, Matt, we have got one segment to close the show, obviously, and you have built my expectations for this segment. So I am extremely excited this week, ladies and gentlemen, to gaze at Julia. Now, I am expecting 60-minute Iron Woman match and nothing less.
Rob Goen, potentially even better to what they're setting up. Julia's very upset she has not been featured in a match. So she goes to Nick Aldis. She demands a match. And Nick Aldis goes, I got the perfect opponent for you next week. May as well be a dream opponent that I have to go to the Twilights for. And then Julia goes, Nick Aldis, what are you drinking? Is that orange juice? He goes, no, it's a screwdriver. If I drink too many of these, I'm going to get violent. Obviously, Rob, none of that happened. I'm obviously making a Tam reference for a Twilight Dream, violent screwdriver, for those who have picked up on it. I have to entertain myself. Really nothing with Julia. From what I understand, I think SmackDown is taped next week because of the holiday. So I'm almost positive that they're doing Julia versus Alba Fire on SmackDown coming up, I believe, tomorrow as we record. So I believe that match has happened. So we shall see, good sir. We shall see. But I think they're doing Julia versus Alba Fire. And then if Julia gets by her, then Julia gets that rematch with Chelsea Green. So again, we've been patient to the point where I literally just fantasy booked Julia versus Tam Nakano for a random SmackDown show.
Really did. You took us on a journey, bro.
I had to, buddy. I had to literally book that. I had to do a gaze at Julia in my own demented mind. But fortunately, really not much with Julia, but does look like we're building up to a Julia versus Alba Fire match. And that'll lead us to that Julia versus Chelsea Green rematch that we've been waiting so long for. And again, we're patient. I'm a positive person. I think it's going to pay off. We'll get 2 really great back-to-back matches from one Julia.
Fingers crossed, brother. Fingers crossed. But in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening. That does bring us to the end of this episode of the Marigold Stand. If you haven't already subscribed to the podcast, please subscribe wherever you get your podcast. If you'd like a free way to support the podcast even more, if you could leave us a comment and a 5-star review, that really, really, really helps us out. It really does. Patreon.com/the Stardom Cast for all of our archived episodes, hundreds of hours of bonus content, all of the episodes early and ad-free for as little as $1 a month, as well as all of our interviews, our previews, our reviews, and all of the news coming out of Marigold and Stardom as well. You can find us on social media at Marigold Podcast. You can talk to me on Twitter. It's at Real Rob Goodwin. Mr. Matt Turner, sign us off, good sir.
Folks, questions, comments, suggestions. Let us know who you think is going to win the Twinstar Cup coming up on the 27th of December. Matt Turner OF on the Instagram and the Twitter is the easiest, fastest, and best way to get a hold of me. Or you can shoot me an email, which is thestardomcast22@gmail.com. Folks, that's going to wrap it up for another fantastic episode of the Marigold Standard. We greatly appreciate your support. Can't do without you. Like I always say, just not my podcast. It's our podcast. Because we're all together, everybody's different, everybody's special.